Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtavrayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, Chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Text 168 onwards. So conversation going on between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and it's very technical when it comes to Mahaprabhu bringing out the points of Mayavad philosophy. Vedana mania bodha hayate nastika, Vedashraya nastikyavad bodha ke adhika. The Buddhists do not recognize the authority of the Vedas. Therefore, they are considered agnostics. However, those who have taken shelter of the Vedic scriptures yet preach agnosticism in accordance with the Mayavad philosophy are certainly more dangerous than the Buddhists. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. So Buddhists do not recognize the authority of the Veda. Now this is very, very strange, because Buddha was a incarnation, Shaktivesh avatar, empowered incarnation of the Lord. And he came with a specific purpose. Purpose was, at that time, there was killing of animals, unlimited killing of animals in the name of sacrifice was going on. And the Brahmins who were so-called Brahmins, they were not real Brahmins, so-called Brahmins who were doing the killing or who were authorizing the killing, they were eating the meat afterwards. And that too, it was all going on in the name of Vedic scriptures. Because people didn't have access to scriptures, didn't have knowledge what the scriptures are saying. So these so-called Brahmins, they were fooling everybody in the name of scriptures. So at that time, Lord Buddha came. And he said, do not ahimsa paramadharma. First, people said, no, this is mentioned in the scripture. Okay, don't follow the scriptures. Don't follow any Vedic scriptures. Just follow me. So it was indirectly, he was asking people to follow him. So, well, he is an empowered incarnation. So indirectly, they were following the Lord, but they were directly opposed to Vaishnava philosophy or the Vedic scriptures. And that's why Prabhupada said it was kicked out of India with this system. But now it is coming back, and it's all hodgepodge, actually. On one side, ahimsa, that is why Buddha came. And now their own teachers and followers, they eat meat. I have seen them. They smoke cigarettes also. They say that when we go for begging, they're bhikshuk. Whatever we get, we eat. If somebody gives us cigarette in bhiksha, we smoke. No, that's not the correct Buddhism. Otherwise, what's the point? Buddha himself came to stop this unrestricted animal killing in the name of sacrifice. So if you are eating meat, then it's just hodgepodge. And not only that, the Dalai Lama himself, his favorite food is not even cow's meat, it's a calf's meat. That's his favorite food. That's what I read. I haven't spoken with him or haven't heard him personally, but that's what I have read. And the place Dharamshala, where Indian government has given shelter to the Buddhists who ran away from Chinese aggression. Now, in the place where the ashram is, I guess it's a big place. It must be a big place. There's so many Buddhist monks that live. And recently means few years back, I saw that in the news that they found, because it's a place where nobody really is allowed to go to, but still the news reporters went and they found so many human baby fetus. Of course, the flesh was gone, but the skeleton was still there. And they did the testing, and they found there are either, if not all, then most of them were baby girls. So where are these fetuses coming from? And why right outside their boundary wall of their, wherever their ashram is in Dharamshala? So all sorts of nonsense goes on in the name of religion. And moreover, they do not recognize the authority of the Vedas. So they say whatever our Buddha, Lord Buddha, or other teachers have given, that's what we follow. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. The Buddhists do not recognize the authority of the Vedas. Therefore, they are considered agnostics. And so, okay, so Buddhists follow this voidism philosophy, but the Mayavad philosophy is even more dangerous. They say we follow the Vedas, but they don't follow the real import of Vedas. And they preach agnosticism, means do not follow, have doubts about the Vedas. Although the Buddhists are directly opposed to Western philosophy, it can easily be understood that the Shankarites are more dangerous because they accept the authority of the Vedas, yet they act contrary to the Vedic instructions. Vedashraya Nastikya Vada means agnosticism under the shelter of Vedic culture, and refers to the monastic philosophy of the Mayavadis. So this is their whole program. Lord Buddha abandoned the authority of the Vedic literature and therefore rejected the ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. His Nirvana philosophy means stopping all material activities. Lord Buddha did not recognize the presence of transcendental forms and spiritual activities beyond the material world. He said, everything is here. He simply described voidism beyond this material existence, that everything is void, it's nothing. So how can so much of variety in the material world come from nothing? We cannot explain. The Mayavadi philosophers offer lip service to Vedic authority, but try to escape the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Try to escape the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. This is another term behind this is, oh, we are spiritual. We don't go to temples. We're not religious. We are spiritual. In the heart of this is they are Mayavadis actually, Nirakarvadis. Many. This is a very famous or comfortable, convenient slogan. Oh, we are spiritual. We are not religious. Recently, I was discussing with somebody. Oh, I do meditation. I don't do spiritual or religious meditation. I said, what in the world is this? For them, meditating on this candle or the light is meditation. And when I showed him what Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, Krishna himself says, we don't believe in all this religious stuff. We just want to meditate. I said, okay, do whatever you want to do. So these are all their favorite sentences. What is religion? When Prabhupada says Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, what is that? That is putting spirituality in practice. Spirituality, we also chant, that is spiritual. But putting that in practice, we are asking Krishna, Radharani, please engage me in your service. So Vedic ritualistic practices are putting that into practice, the serving the Lord. So this is the practical implementation of spiritualism. But for in modern day, because it is Kali Yuga, everybody wants to follow whatever they want to follow. For them, anybody who goes to temple to do some ritualistic ceremonies is just a backward person. He doesn't have any knowledge. He doesn't know anything. They say, oh, do the meditation. Meditation on whom? On light. What does it give you? Oh, it gives you peace. Or anything, anytime you sit down in a dark room and quiet, it will make you peaceful. What is spiritual about it? And they cannot answer all this. And they think they are reading Chinmayananda's transfer, his interpretation of Bhagavad Gita, or something else, Shivananda's, or their way of making tremendous progress. Doing what? Meditating on light, how we are making progress. When Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, whatever you are thinking of at the time of death, that form you will attain without fail. And one is meditating on light and he leaves his body, what form he is going to get? And most of these people, when they go to so-called meditation rooms or meditation centers, it's basically those center people, they make the whole room very dark and very comfortable, and air conditioning is on. So you sit down and meditate, and most of them fall asleep. Obviously. And they say, oh, you are in deep meditation. Just money making business, that's all it is. And on top of it, they charge money, obviously, lots of money. And then they say, oh, this is new age meditation or new age yoga, of this, of that, vipassana. It's just they themselves don't know, the so-called gurus or teachers, and students also, they don't want to know what's the right thing. And the business goes on. But one thing is definitely there, that people want to know the right thing. Yes, if their desire is not completely pure, they will find these kind of cheater gurus. But people want to know. There's so many different societies, yoga societies, or in America also, not just yoga, there's so many different kinds. Means people are thirsty. People want to know what's the real thing. So if we are really connected with Prabhupada, and if we really want to serve Prabhupada, we should be giving the right knowledge out. If we are honest ourselves, without any ulterior motive. Ulterior motive is for what? Either to make money, to have followers, or to attract the opposite sex, or to enjoy life comfortably. By studying Prabhupada books, we know this is all nonsense. We cannot do this. So might as well serve Prabhupada properly, honestly, in whatever little bit way we can. Nobody is saying make uh, thousands and thousands of disciples. Nah. Even if we transform the heart of one person, good enough. But with all honesty, with all sincerity, with all uh, devotion, as a matter of thanks to Prabhupada. If we do that, Prabhupada will be very happy. The Mayavadi philosophers offer lip service to Vedic authority, but try to escape the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. And now they even follow the ceremonies, and still, in the end, it's all, we are all one. They concoct some idea of a transcendental position and call themselves Narayan or God. However, God's position is completely different from their concoction. Such Mayavadi philosophers consider themselves above the influence of karma kanda, fruitive activities, and their reactions. For them, the spiritual world is equated with the Buddhist voidism. There is very little difference between impersonalism and voidism. Voidism can be directly understood, but the impersonalism enunciated by Mayavadi philosophers accept a spiritual existence, but they do not know about the spiritual world and spiritual beings. So Buddhists say voidism. After this material world, everything is void, nothing, shunya. So how can so much of variety, a variety of life and the desires and the emotions, how can it all originate from shunya? Or their another favorite argument is it all comes from sound. Well, how does sound come into existence? They say Om. It all comes from Om, sound. Well, where did Om come from? Sound means somebody has to make the sound. Who said somebody? No, no, no. In the beginning, it was all Om. It's very, very difficult to argue with such people. You cannot argue. So all we try to do, at least let them say Hare Krishna or have Prashadam, that's all. So Mayavadi philosophers accept a spiritual existence, but they do not know about the spiritual world and spiritual beings. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, ye anya arvindaksha vimukta maninas, tvayi asta bhavad avishuddha buddhaya, aruya kricharena param padam tata, patanti yadho anadrit yushmat angreya. The intelligence of the Mayavadis is not purified. Therefore, even though they practice austerities for self-realization, they cannot remain within the impersonal Brahm Jyoti. Consequently, they fall down again into this material. This is Bhagavatam says. The Mayavadi's conception of spiritual existence is almost identical to the negation of material existence. The Mayavadis believe that there is nothing positive in spiritual life. So nothing positive in spiritual life. As a result, they cannot understand devotional service or the worship of the Supreme Person, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. The Mayavadi philosophers consider deity worship in devotional service to be Pratibimbavad, or the worship of a form that is the reflection of a false material form. For them, Krishna is a false material form, because for them, ultimate is Brahmjyoti. Thus, the Lord's transcendental form, which is eternally blissful and full of knowledge, is unknown to Mayavadi philosophers. Although the term Bhagavan is explicitly described in Srimad Bhagavatam, they cannot understand it. So Bhagavan, Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita also explains Bhagavan. Because they don't have that mercy of the Lord, they cannot understand Bhagavan. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdate. The absolute truth is called Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The Mayavadis try to understand Brahman only, or at the most Paramatma. However, they are unable to understand Bhagavan. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, says, Mayaya aparita jnana, means their jnana, their knowledge is all taken away by Maya. Because of the temperament of the Mayavadi philosophers, real knowledge is taken from them. Because they cannot receive the mercy of the Lord, they will always be bewildered by his transcendental form. Impersonal philosophy destroys the three phases of knowledge: Gyan, Geya, and Gyata. So Gyan, knowledge; Geya, one who wants to know; and Gyata means one. Oh, Geya means one has that must be known, and Gyata means one who wants to know. As soon as one speaks of knowledge, there must be a person who's a knower, the knowledge itself, and the object of knowledge. Mayavad philosophy combines these three categories. Therefore, the Mayavadis cannot understand how the spiritual potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead act. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, they cannot understand the distinction in the spiritual world between knowledge, the knower, and the object of knowledge. It's all one in the sense it's all spiritual, but they all are different also. Because of this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers the Mayavadi philosophers more dangerous than the Buddhists. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conclusion. Jivera nistar lagi sutra kaila vyas, Mayavadi bhashya sunile hai sarvanash. Srila Vyasadeva presented the Vedanta philosophy for the deliverance of conditioned souls. But if one hears a commentary of Shankaracharya, everything is spoiled. So I know when, like Vinay Prabhu was arguing, well, when one has been following somebody since childhood and he hasn't heard anything like that from his mouth, his guru's mouth. So definitely he will have doubt about why Mahaprabhu is saying all this and why Prabhupada is so heavy about Mayavad philosophy. But then again, I mean, he should, that's what I asked him, why don't you ask your Guruji, one, who is Bhagwan and what is our relationship with Bhagwan? That's all. It will explain properly. What are the differences in our philosophy? So this is what Mahaprabhu says. Mayavadi bhashya sunile hai sarvanash. Factually, the devotional service of the Lord is described in Vedanta Sutra, but the Mayavadi philosophers, the Shankarites, prepared a commentary known as Sharira Bhashya, in which the transcendental form of the Lord is denied. The Mayavadi philosophers think that the living entity is identical with the Supreme Soul, Brahman. Their commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra are completely opposed to the principle of devotional service. So, if I'm identical with Brahman, why would I serve Brahman or Supreme Soul? Why would I serve him? I'm the same. We are the same, according to them. Vaishnava philosophy says, Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nitya Das. We are servants eternally. So, this is where devotional service comes in. We are servant means we serve. Serve the Lord, serve our Master. Their commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra are completely opposed to the principle of devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore warns us to avoid these commentaries. If one indulges in hearing the Shankarite Sharira Bhashya, he will certainly be bereft of all real knowledge. The ambitious Mayavadi philosophers desire to merge into the existence of the Lord, and this may be accepted as Sayujya Mukti. However, this form of mukti means denying one's individual existence. In other words, it's a kind of spiritual suicide. Spiritual suicide, merging and denying one's individual existence. This is absolutely opposed to the philosophy of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga offers immortality to the individual conditioned soul. Immortality, not denying one's existence or not just getting rid of one's individuality. If one follows a Mayavadi philosophy, he misses his opportunity to become immortal after giving up the material body. Now that also sounds a little tricky. Soul is immortal. Soul does not die. But what becomes immortal means we are not going to get a body that we're going to live again. That's a perfection of Vaishnava philosophy. The immortality of the individual person is the highest perfection stage a living entity can attain. Immortality of the individual person means getting a body. Again, not getting a separate body. The body is within the spiritual soul. It just develops to a certain extent that it has a full-fledged Satchitananda body, and with which we are in the pastimes of Krishna, serving him and enjoying with him. Parinamavad Vyasa Sutrera Sammata Achintya Shakti Ishvara Jagat Rupe Parinam. The Vedanta Sutra aims at establishing that the cosmic manifestation has come into being by the transformation of the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So not just the Brahma Jyoti, the inconceivable potency of Supreme Lord. For a further explanation of Parinamvad, refer to Adi Lila, 7th chapter. Mani yaiche avikrite prashabe hema bhar, jagat rupa hai ishvara tabu avikar. The touchstone, after touching iron, produces volumes of gold without being changed. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as a cosmic manifestation by his inconceivable potency. Yet he remains unchanged in his eternal, transcendental form. So, he's both at the same time. According to the commentary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the purpose of the Janmadi Asya aphorism in the Vedanta Sutra is to establish that the cosmic manifestation is a result of the transformation of the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is a master of innumerable eternal energies which are unlimited. Sometimes these energies are manifested and sometimes they are not. In any case, all energies are always under his control. Therefore, he is the original energetic, the abode of all energies. A common brain in the conditioned state cannot conceive of how these inconceivable energies abide in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how he exists in his innumerable forms as a master of both spiritual and material energies. But he is, and how he is a master of both manifest and potential powers, and how contradictory potencies can abide in him. So, a common brain, or it's nice to say common brain, or we can say the puny, little bitty, insignificant brain. How is he going to understand this? As long as the living entity is within this material world, in the condition of illusion, he cannot understand the activities of the inconceivable energies of the Lord. Thus, the Lord's energies, though factual, are simply beyond the power of the common brain to understand. When atheistic philosophers or the Mayavadis, being unable to understand the inconceivable energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, imagine an impersonal void, their imagination is only the counterpart of materialistic thinking. Within the material world, there is nothing inconceivable. High-thinking philosophers and scientists can tackle the material energy, but not being able to understand the spiritual energy, they can simply imagine an inactive state, such as the impersonal Brahman. So they say, everything in the material world we can understand, to a certain extent, obviously. So, because it has form. So what doesn't have form means we cannot understand. So spirituality means it doesn't have form. This is simply the negative side of the material life. Just like now Bhagavad or scriptures say, in spiritual world it's made of Satya, Chit and Ananda. And they said there's nothing, no such thing in the material world which is Sat, Chit and Ananda. And material world has form. So when you say of Satchidananda, so it must be no form, formless. So simple. No, it has transcendental form. So that's what they can. This is simply the negative side of material life. By such imperfect knowledge, the Mayavadi philosophers conclude that the cosmic manifestation is a transformation of the Supreme. Thus, they must necessarily also accept the theory of illusion of the Supreme, Vivartavad. However, if we accept the inconceivable potencies of the Lord, we can understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead can appear within this material world without being touched or contaminated by the three modes of nature. So he can come, he can do whatever he wants. He's the Supreme Lord, supremely powerful, supremely independent. Even in the material world. There's a prison house, there is a jail. So if the president of a country, he visits the jail, does he mean he is a criminal? No. He's visiting the jail to see the prisoners and to see how everything is going and maybe offer some reduced time to some prisoners. He can do that. So if king of a country, he can do this, why can't the Supreme Lord come to the prison house and not be affected, and still he can offer reduced sentence to the prisoners? It's up to him. From the Shastras, we learn that there is a stone or jewel called a touchstone that can transform iron into gold. Although the touchstone turns iron into gold many times, it remains in its original condition. If such a material stone can maintain its inconceivable energy after producing volumes of gold, certainly the Supreme Personality of Godhead can remain in its original Sat Chit Ananda form after creating the cosmic world. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, he acts only through his different energies. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Krishna directs the material energy, and that potency works in this material world. This is also confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. The Durga Shakti, material energy, acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the universal creation, maintenance, and destruction are being carried out by the Durga Shakti. Krishna's direction is in the background. Conclusion is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as he is, even though directing his energy, which makes the diverse cosmic manifestation work so wonderful. But Krishna can do anything and everything. And their conclusion is, no, it's not happening like that. Anyway, I guess we can stop. It's getting very technical now again. So, see anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, many years back ना मेरे को भी किसी ने मतलब try to फसाओ me in Buddhism. तो she took me to this उनका अपना पूरा एक group था and वहाँ पे they were chanting that Om उनका कोई एक particular sentence है नाम्यो में गयो something कुछ करके था हाँ वो पूरा चैंट कर रहे थे एंड गोंक्यो करके उनका एक स्मॉल वुडन का एक वो बना करके ना सामने रखा हुआ था एंड विद द बेल एंड एवरीथिंग इट वाज नाइस सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था सब कुछ ठीक था बट समहाउ मुझे कुछ मतलब जमा ही नहीं मेरे को लगा ये क्या कर रहे हैं मुझे तो कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रही थी बट अल्टीमेटली बट मतलब आफ्टर पासिंग सो मेनी इयर्स इन दिस इस्कॉन का पूरा इनके साथ करने के बाद ना नाउ आई एम रियलाइजिंग दैट जितने भी हमारे यहाँ पे आसपास गुरुज हैं या धर्म या रिलीजन या जो भी कुछ बोल रहे हैं जस्ट यू नो मशरूमिंग इज बेस्ड ऑन पीपल्स डिजायर एक्चुअली एवरीबडी वांट्स टू फुलफिल देयर डिजायर्स और वो हाउ क्विकली वन कैन यू नो फुलफिल वो उसकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट हो जाते हैं बट कॉमन पीपल आर लाइक दिस है ना और मतलब जैसे कुछ भी कोई भी नया कुछ भी आता है एंड उनका कुछ का हो जाता है एंड देन ही टेल्स टू 10 पीपल्स ओ हो सी वहां जाओ वहां आपकी सारी इच्छाएं पूरी हो जाएंगी सो आई डोंट थिंक सो किसी को कुछ कृष्णा की जरूरत है या कृष्णा को जानना चाहता है या इट्स अ वेरी मतलब नेक्स्ट लेवल एक्चुअली इज कॉन बाकी जितने भी हम उनसे बात भी करते हैं ना तो उनको समझ में ही नहीं आती है सब चीजें वो कहते हैं कुछ नहीं भाई हम तो यहाँ पे आए हैं हमारी घर पूरा हो जाए गाड़ी आ जाए बच्चे पढ़ जाएं शादियां हो जाएं बस हमें और कुछ नहीं चाहिए
बेसिकली तो यही है ना
यही है
तो डिजायर्स हैं
कौन
सबकी
इंटरेस्टेड है प्रभु जी यही तो मैं जान भगवान उसकी भक्ति उसकी सेवा आई रियली डोंट थिंक सो हार्डली 1% पीपल आर इंटरेस्टेड नो एवरीबडी वांट्स भैया काम कैसे पूरे होंगे ये बता दो इस्कॉन में जाने के बाद और वहां पे पूजा करने के बाद काम पूरे हो जाएंगे तो बताओ नहीं तो अदरवाइज वो ठीक है दूसरे वाले तो इट्स लाइक अ प्रॉपर जैसे बिजनेस ना कि देन कैशिंग एक्चुअली हम लोगों की ही डिजायर्स को दे आर इन कैशिंग एक्चुअली एंड दे आर रनिंग देयर बिजनेस और कुछ भी नहीं है ऑल ओवर दिस इज द सेम इज गोइंग ऑन
या फिर तो साईं बाबा में जाते हैं
कहीं पे भी चले जाएंगे प्रभु जी कहीं पे भी चले जाएंगे दे विल गो टू एनी एक्सटेंट टू फुलफिल देयर डिजायर्स एक्चुअली में वो चाहे साईं बाबा जी हो चाहे वो मोनेस्ट्री हो चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए
चाहे वो
कुछ
मजार
भी
ही
हो
क्यों ना
जाए
हो मजार पे भी
हाँ
चले
हाँ
जाएंगे
हाँ 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 तेल गो दे विल गो। इतनी ज्यादा उनको दिमाग पे चढ़ जाती है ना अपनी इच्छाएं पूरी होने की कि
हाँ
वो
हाँ, बस
कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता, नेक्स्ट लेवल उनको समझ ही नहीं आता कि इससे
किसी
हट
तरह
के रहना है।
मटेरियल डिजायर्स पूरी हो।
हाँ बस बस बस, बॉटम लाइन इज दिस, हर किसी का यही है कि हम अभी का देख लें भाई, पीछे का किसने जाना है, कौन जाने क्या होने वाला है, चाहे जो भी होना होगा, कौन सी योनि मिलनी है भगवान जाने, हम तो बस अभी जो आए हैं तो अभी कर लें बस, टेम्परेरी एंड क्विक रिजल्ट्स दे वांट, क्विक,
हाँ,
वेरी फास्ट, आज
and
बोला कल हो जाना
this
चाहिए।
Krishna covers that in Bhagavad Gita.
हम्म।
Actually, but it's
इसलिए
very tough, very tough to bring them into bhakti. Very tough.
ओह, नेक्स्ट टाइम पॉसिबल वाला है। नहीं, और मेरी वो जो फ्रेंड है वो बुद्ध पूर्णिमा पे वो जोत जगाई हुई है, बुद्ध की उसकी प्रतिमा के आगे, और वो शी इज हैविंग आराम से अपना नॉनवेज खा रही है, लंच वंच हो रहा है, बन रहा है, खा रहे हैं सब, सो पूरे घर में चल रहा है सेम एटमॉस्फेयर। तो मुझे समझ नहीं आई, ये जोत भी जल रही है और तुम खा भी रहे हो, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़
हाँ,
रहा होगा।
वो कैसे कनेक्शन कैसे हो सकता है, बट
नहीं
नहीं
वो
उसमें।
नहीं है। तो मतलब दो तीन चीजें जब मैंने देखी ना साथ के साथ, तो मुझे समझ नहीं आया, मैं कहा नहीं ये बात नहीं बनने वाली मेरे यहाँ पे, स्टॉप ऐसा प्लीज, मुझे माफ करो आप, मेरे को नहीं रहना। दे वर वेरी आफ्टर माय लाइफ, बड़े 6-7 महीने बहुत रोज फोन आने, आप आते नहीं, आप आते नहीं, मैं कहा नहीं, मुझे समझ आ रही क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग। So बस, थैंक
Yep.
यू प्रभु जी,
So,
हरे कृष्णा।
no, thank you to Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
या
Hare
जय श्री
Krishna.
प्रभुपाद, हरे कृष्णा।